Alright, legends, welcome along to Here's Rod's Reviews. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Part 6, the finale of this season. Epic. Epic. If you haven't had a chance to sit down and see it yet, I would highly recommend you do it. This, for me, was a pure joy. Everything I was hoping that would happen in this series actually happened. And so much better than I was expecting it to. Fan service, flat out. I did say in a previous episode in Obi-Wan Kenobi that, fan service, as much as we enjoy it, it is wearing a little bit thin with me at times. It's just like, the wedge softening in there that's just there for like, oh, check it out. We do get quite a bit of that in this episode, but it's done so nicely and it's dropped in there just at that moment where you're not expecting it, and when it does happen, there's one part in this episode where I laughed out loud at it. It was just the thing that was memed flat out with Revenge of the Sith was whenever Obi-Wan Kenobi drops down behind General Grievous and he's like, hello there. So there's a point in this episode where he walks up to the camera, and it's a moment you've been waiting for ages, and he walks up to this character, and I don't want to destroy it for you. I really don't want to destroy it for you and tell you exactly what happens in this episode. But at one point, there's a character that he walks up to, and it's an emotional moment for Obi-Wan. It's something that he's been hoping that will happen, that for the last 10 years. I think it's probably given more away, but it's a moment that you're sort of hoping it's going to pay off in the series, and it eventually does. And when it happens, he walks up, and the emotional side of the story for him and the viewer has been built up, and you're right on there with the emotions of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he walks up, and what's he going to say to this character for the first time? And he walks up and he looks him dead in the eye, and he's like, hello there. Pitch perfect to the way he did it back in Revenge of the Sith. So good. It was just an epic, nice little touch. As far as the episode goes, still running from the Empire, trying to get Leia home, but Obi-Wan realizes at this point, Vader's on the Star Destroyer. Absolute pleasure seeing the classic Star Destroyer there too, and it's a slow chase through space, which a lot of people had quite a bit of problems with in the sequel trilogy, and it's just like this stuff has happened countless times in science fiction, not just Star Wars. If memory serves, Battlestar Galactica was one huge slow space chase, but I digress. Obi-Wan realizes that all the refugees in the ship are at risk, along with Leia, if he doesn't do something and take Vader out of the equation for these people. So he decides he's going to face off against Vader, and we all know this was coming up, and this is what I was expecting from, was it episode 4, whenever he was rescuing Leia from the stronghold, and it seemed to be one of the weaker episodes in the series. And I did say it to a subscriber in the comments today, he felt that it was a bit of a letdown, that episode, but I was just like, for me, that episode was crucial for Obi-Wan to build up his abilities again with the Force. He's been shut off for so long now. We've seen it throughout the series. He's had the huge problems in moving the slightest little thing with the power of the Force. So that episode was crucial for that, for him to be put in a situation where he had to use the Force more on people in other places other than Vader, because he just, at that stage, and we've seen it in their first fight in the series, he was not ready to face Vader whatsoever. So they do indeed face off together in this episode, and it's spectacular. It is so well done, and yes, I did see a few fan theories that I would have been content enough with last episode 5, when we had that flashback of Obi-Wan and Anakin sparring together. But in this episode, we do actually get to see Hayden Christensen in and out of the mask. The mask gets damaged at one point, and it sets it up in this episode for whenever eventually, and there's final fights and there's final fights. This is the final fight of this episode in this series, but it's not the final fight of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. We know where that final fight's going to take place at. It's episode 4, A New Hope, on the Death Star. We already know the destination of these two guys, so it's just interesting to see how they're going to deal with this, because Vader says in that movie, when I left you I was but a learner, but now I am the master. And Obi-Wan says, only a master of evil, Darth. So you get all this here as a spectacular way of setting that scenario up. Obi-Wan does come off the victor at the end of the series. That's not a spoiler. We knew that was going to happen. We know where these characters are going. But what happens and the interaction between the two, spot on. Now, it's not just those two that are a big part in this episode. The third sister has survived her Darth Vader, of course, stabbed her with a lightsaber in the last episode. She has survived to this episode. She came across Obi-Wan's little communications device that was dropped. Excuse me. And discovers that there's another kid on Tatooine, so she's gone after Luke in this episode. So there's a whole thing with young Luke in this episode as well, with the third sister trying to hunt him down. But that resolves itself by the end of the episode too. Listen, guys, I have said it on social media and in other places. This actress that plays, and I just want to get her name 100% right, Moses Ingram. I've been calling her the third sister the whole time. Inquisitor Reva is also a name of hers as well. She is absolutely spectacular in this series, and definitely between her and the kid that plays Leia, Vivian Blair, the two of them standout stars in this show. They're up against heavyweights like Ewan McGregor. It's going to be tough for a newer face stand up beside the like of Ewan McGregor, and of course Hayden Christensen there as well, and James Earl Jones back doing the voice of Vader. There's a lot of big names and big personalities in there. The character of Darth Vader alone, for these people to come in here and throw a performance out there that just shines above all these established actors and characters within the show, fantastic. Now the kid is brilliant, and Moses Ingram, episode 5 and this episode, she puts in an emotional performance, a very, very emotional performance, and so good. But I'm not going to destroy that for you. Everything you want watching this episode, you get it. And I've said it before in the last episode, and probably the episode before as well, if we didn't get Qui-Gon Jinn in this series, I was going to be very disappointed. This is the one thing I will spoil for you. At the very end of the episode, Obi-Wan manages to get to a place where his mind is right for the Force Ghost to appear, and we do get Liam Neeson himself. Now, I did check it out on, well, IMDb lists Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn, uncredited. That's the thing I did notice whenever I was watching the series. I actually watched into the credits just to see the names of the characters and whatnot. The Emperor turns up as well. Ian McDiarmid reprising his role as the Emperor. He turns up in the little hologram communicator talking to Vader. So, you know, all the big wigs that you would expect that pop up in the show. So, on Disney Plus, the episode itself, and the credits, no sign of Liam Neeson, but his Force Ghost appears. So part of me was sitting thinking to myself, okay, is this one of these times where they couldn't get the actor involved in it and used a body double and did the the face recreation and a computer generated voice to actually recreate the character from scratch? And that's a possibility, but he's definitely not credited within the episode. But on IMDb right here, it has his name there listed, a photograph of him, Qui-Gon Jinn, but it does say uncredited. But part of me is like, you know, why would he be uncredited within the actual episode itself? You know, so it's one of these things. I'm curious just to keep checking about and see whether it was him or not. But even so, we do get that little moment with Obi-Wan and him meeting face to face once more at the end of the series. Wonderful. I enjoyed it so much. There's probably going to be no sleep for me tonight because, unfortunately for me, I've been burning the candle at both ends, recording videos and whatnot, and I haven't seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and that also dropped on Disney Plus today. So currently, while recording this video, it is 9:45 p.m. and I have to be getting up for work at 4 a.m. So I may have to just forget about sleep tonight. Anyway, guys, check out that show and look out. Just that moment was just that hello there. Oh God, so good, guys. It is fantastic, and if the rumours are indeed true that it has been greenlit for a second season, I'm in there in a major way. Just having a look at IMDb again, it's only listing one season here. Usually whenever there's an official announcement, they'll put a 2 there for the second season, but it is what it is. Absolutely fantastic. For a show that I thought was going to be terrible, it was actually probably one of the best things to come from Star Wars since Disney bought it over. Absolutely fantastic.